Alright, today we're going to be looking at getting information from a sensor, okay, and reading that information, figuring out what we can do with the information, and our goal is to light an LED based upon the information from the sensor. Today's sensor is the photoresistor. I picked it because it's very cheap and inexpensive and very easy to get a hold of. All you do is have to find your local Radio Shack, beat down the track phone user, head to the drawers, and find the thing that looks like this. It's a photoresistor. And you can see at the very top, it's got like this curly Q pattern. Let's see if I can get it to focus on that and that alone. There we go. That's what it looks like. Okay, now they do come in a pack, so you could get the entire pack. It would be a very good investment. It's I think $6 instead of $2, and you'll be using this sensor all the time because really it makes a really good experiment. Now what's it do? Well, a photoresistor is just a very fancy resistor. Okay, a resistor has a very set value. This one bases itself on the change of light. So I can cover the sensor up and a change would occur, and then let go of it, and then a new change would occur. Alright, now our goal here is to get as clean as data as we can get first before we start using it as a sensor to make something like an event happen. So I'm going to plop it down in the breadboard, and our first question is, what kind of data is coming in here? It's analog data. That's the answer to that. But what's the data look like? To start out with, instead of typing the code again in front of you, we're going to go back to the analog read, one that we learned in chapter 4. Okay, in chapter 4 we looked at analog read. It's the same setup. So now we have this code, we can just start thinking about, well, how are we going to connect it to A0 and what other things need to occur hardware-wise. For any data, I always kind of use a yellow wire just to visualize it in my head. So in this case, I want to run a wire from A0 to one of the leads on the resistor. But I also want to ground it to do that because I want to change in data to occur. Let's not ground it first and show you what happens. Okay, I'm going to need some voltage, so I'm going to put the 5 volts on the other lead. Just like that. And then we're going to look at uploading the code. So in this case, you would have to type this code in. But now you should have it in your notes. Let's look at serial monitor and look at the data. Alright, this is what we have. Now if I was to put my finger over the photoresistor, you can see something is occurring. It's a very small change. In fact, you could look at the very top number here on the baud, and it's 1023. When I go like that, it goes to about 1013. So that's not enough change to have some really cool event happen. What we're going to do is take this, the one with the data, and we're going to run it over to the ground rail too. So this is what I got so far. Where's my little poker / pointy tool? Ah, here it is. Okay, so there's my photoresistor. It's hooked up to the ground rail right here. And it's also hooked to the data of A0. and then on the other pin it's hooked up to 5 volts. Alright, now we just have to get a ground over to the ground rail. No big deal. We just run a wire from here to here. Alright, now let's look at the data. Okay, if I cover it up, I have 300. And then if I let go, I have 700. That's a larger change. And now that we have that change, we can use the change to write some code. Alright, so that's our goal, is not only to get or figure out what our numbers are and write them down somewhere, and get a significant change between events. Alright, so let's go on to the next video where we can start writing some code based upon these numbers.